Hey guys, yesterday we gave you the linear inequality and we asked you to graph it. Today we're going to go back the other way. We're going to give you the graph and we want you to tell us the inequality that matches.
So the EQ question is, how do you find the linear inequality from a graph of the inequality? So given the graph, write the inequality match. So step one, we're going to write the equation of the line.
So we look here, our graph, I first of all see that it slopes downward. So I know that I'm going to have a negative slope. And my y-intercept is going to be, right here, so it's -1. And I also see that it crosses here, and it crosses here, and it crosses here consistently. So I can see that that's down 1, right 1. So therefore my m is going to be -1. So I know that it's going to be y something -1x minus 1. So my next step then.
So step two is going to be substitute a point from the shaded region into the equation. So you're going to take a point from the shaded region and plug it in.
And you obviously have a big range of values to choose from. Not everybody has to choose the same one. So I'm going to eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I try to pick them on the axis. I like to try to pick a 0 value for x, so I'm going to pick -2, 0. Or sorry, 0, -2. I'm going to substitute that in. So that means that -2 something, -1 times 0 minus 1. Well, -1 times 0 is 0, minus 1 is -1. And -2. Now, before we get to our final step, we look and see do we have a dotted line or a solid line? We have a solid line. That tells me that whatever symbol is in here is going to have the or equal to piece to it.
Step three is enter the inequality symbol that makes the statement with the point true.
So we look here, we've got -2 compared to -1. I know that -1 is bigger because it's less negative. That means that this goes here, which means my final answer is going to be y is less than or equal to -x minus 1. So now we need to try that with the next example. Right away I see I have a vertical line. And I remember that vertical line means it's going to be x equals something. So that means that my inequality is going to be x something, and it crosses the x-axis at +4. Now, I see that I have 0, 0 in the shaded region, so I'm going to substitute in my 0 compared to 4, and I know 0 is less than 4, and this is a dotted line, so it's going to be strictly less than, which means my final answer will be x is less than 4. One more example. Here, I see that I have a positive slope because it's heading uphill. I see that I have a y-intercept at -1. And I also see that if I look the next time it crosses a set of x grid points is here. And again here to make sure it works the same way both directions. And that goes up 3, right 1. So my m is +3. My b is -1. So that means that I have y something compared to 3x minus 1. 0, 0 happens to be in my shaded region, so I'm going to use that. 0 compares to 3 times 0 minus 1. 3 times 0 is 0, minus 1 is -1. And I got 0 compared to -1. I know 0 is bigger than -1, and it's a dash line, so it's strictly greater than, which leaves me with my final answer of y is greater than 3x minus 1. Our next piece to today is going to be good old application problems.
So we have to take this information and write and graph an inequality from the amount the school makes on ticket sales. So the question asks, the school sells at least school sells tickets at a cost of $4.50 for adults and $3 for children. The school needs to make at least $135 to cover expenses. So if we look at our example here, it says let X equal the number of adult tickets. So we're going to take $4.50 times Y times X and then we need to know for our Y. So then we have $3 times Y equals our $135.
Now, except that we don't want equals because we don't want to find exactly $135. We need to make that at least. And now at least means we can make $135 exactly and still cover our expenses. Well, we cannot make less because we want to cover expenses, so it has to be greater than or equal to. Now we have our inequality, and on your test you will have to assign your own variables, which we did for you here, and not to write your inequality, which we just did. You will not have to graph it, but we're going to graph it because it's important for you to know how to do that. Now, could we solve this for Y? Absolutely. But I think it actually is easier if we go ahead and find our intercepts. So I'm going to start with finding my x-intercept. So if I put in for my x, to get my x-intercept, 0 for y, that means I get 4.5x, and I'm going to, for right now, say equal to 135. So if I take $135 divided by 4.5, I get 30. So my x-intercept is 30. And if I put in 0 for x, and I have $3 y equal to 135, so I take 135 divided by 3, I get a y-intercept of 45, which means if I sold no adult tickets, I would have to sell at least 45 child tickets to cover our expenses. And if I sold no child tickets, I'd have to sell at least 30 adult tickets to cover my expenses. So that means that if I have 30 and 45, I'm going to have to make my lines represent much more than just one each time because I don't have enough here. So I'm going to let each of these red lines equal 5. And just for the sake of spacing, I'm going to label every other one because I don't want to make ton of crowded spots. Now you can shrink yours down with beautiful notability, so that's good for you to be able to do. So that being said, now I can plot my points. I have an x-intercept of 30 and a y-intercept of 45, and I'm going to connect my dots. And this is where a ruler is going to come in handy because you got to be able to then take our next place. But first, we got to shade. Greater than or equal to 135. So I'm going to try 0, 0. If I put in 0 and 0, I get 0 is greater than or equal to 135. That does not work. And so therefore my shading is going to be out here. And so now the second piece says if I have 25 child tickets, which remember, child tickets are Y, so 25 child tickets, then that means how many adult tickets might be sold to cover the expenses. Well, I come over to where it crosses, and I actually need to make sure that I have an accurate line. So I might actually should cross here, which means that I must sell at least about, so let's see here, if we go up, if I cover 15 tickets, I'm covering my expenses, I'm into the area. So at least 15. And now, some of you are going, well, how did you get that? Because I don't saw it. Notice my line curve is not perfectly straight. If I were to go ahead and make a straight line connecting these two, see how my line is a little bit different now all of a sudden? And if I cover and go up to 15, 15 is going to be, do it in purple here, is going to be into the region. If I actually went and said here, the problem with this line is that I go 5, 10, 15, that's like 12 and a half tickets. So we could actually solve to get about 13, but 15 will cover our expenses. We can talk more about a problem like that tomorrow, given that you now have some U-try problems. You got 2. I even put the points in there so you don't have any question about which points fall on the line of the inequality. And then I've got a potatoes problem with carrots with a chef. And I tell you what X and Y represent, so you need to write the inequality. I'm not even making you graph it, but now I'm going to have you use the inequality to find how many boxes of potatoes can the chef order if she orders 4 boxes of carrots. And as always, bring your questions with you to